Is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. And good afternoon from Arlington, Texas, or Burlington, Vermont. I'm Ron Juckett, and welcome to the program. Game 1 of this American League Championship Series pretty much went as scripted. Ron Guidry, who was our Cy Young Award winner, outdueled John Matlack, who was second in the American League Cy Young voting, 3-2. And so the Yankees did what they had to do down here. They won their ballgame. They can do no worse than go home with a split. So the Texas Rangers now have all the pressure on the world on their shoulders, as they must win with Ferguson Jenkins today. That's the good news for the Rangers. Oh, it gets better. The Yankees go with Eddie Figueroa, who has pitched nowhere near his 20-win real-life performance. And in fact, there were chants last night in the chat during our live broadcast of Figgy sucks hard. I don't agree with that. I don't root for anybody. I don't root for anybody, unless it's a good story. But it is true, the Yankees' biggest wild card is Ed Figueroa. He pitches well today, the Yankees are going to win this series. He does not pitch well today, and then the pressure goes on to Catfish Hunter on Thursday night, when the series goes back to New York in prime time. So that's the scene set for you. No changes in the lineups outside of Jenkins and Figueroa. Both teams are ready. Both teams are poised. The Yankees took Game 1 3-2. What's going to happen in Game 2? We're about to find out. As Retro Sports Network presents the 1978 American League Championship Series. From Arlington Stadium in Arlington, Texas, it's Game 2, the Yankees and the Texas Rangers, with the Yankees leading this best-of-5 1-0. And today's game is brought to you by Digital Dice, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Like our tile floor behind us, and find us on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or at digitaldice.com. So there you go. Ferguson Jenkins taking his warm-up tosses. It's a big one for Texas. Jenkins made 30 starts on the year. If you're wondering where he missed early on in the year. Came over from the Red Sox in the offseason and started pretty much out of the pen. And by mid-April or late April, he finally was a starter. He went 15-11 on the replay with an ERA of 3.34. Fastball pitcher at 86. Doesn't favor the fly ball. Doesn't favor the ground ball. He threw 255 and 2/3 innings in the replay, 259 hits, allowed 30 homers, and the Yankees are going to be hungry to pop off. He only walked 43. He has good control, and he struck out 174. And let's take a look at the starting lineups, presented by DigitalDice.com. There you go. See, Gardner, I got you in there 19 times. Here's how the Yankees will line up. Mickey Rivers will lead off in center field. Roy White will bat second and play left. Thurman Munson is behind the plate. He'll bat third. Reggie Jackson is a DH again tonight, or today rather. He will clean up. Craig Nettles will bat fifth and play third. Chris Chambliss at first will bat sixth. Lou Piniella is in right again. They might switch for the games in New York. He will hit seventh. Bucky Dent at short will bat eighth. And Brian Doyle, who had a monster game in Game 1, will bat ninth and play second. And if this was a slideshow, and if Ricky Keeler's watching, This would be the giant X factor for the New York Yankees. The man on the mound, Eddie Figueroa. Yeah, if they win today, Jamie, I think it's a sweep. Because then Catfish Hunter and a cast of thousands can shut them down. Remember, the Yankees did not use Sparky Lyle or Goose Gossage. And so, really, you get 5 out of Figueroa, the Yankees can close the door, I think. Defensively for the Rangers, Al Oliver a 5 and a 7. Juan Benitez a 9 and a 7. Barry Bonds a 7 and an 8 in right. Toby Herrera a 5 at third. Again, Texas will sacrifice offense for defense and use Campaneris at short. He's an 8. Bump Wills a 7 at second. Mike Hargrove an 8 at first. And Jim Sundberg behind the plate a 10 and a 9. Fergie Jenkins is an 8 with a .986 fielding percentage. In Game 1, Mickey Rivers went 1 for 4 and scored a run. Gozzlehead. Where the heck does that one? Sure. So it is raining here in Arlington. It's a day game, 76 degrees here in Arlington as we get started, and the wind is blowing in from center at 13. And I forgot to switch things around again. Rivers into right. Bonds 1 out. That brings up Roy White. How you doing, Glenn? White 1 for 3 with an RBI in Game 1. Jenkins. Little ground ball to Campaneris. Bang banger to first. Hargrove stays on the bag as Campaneris threw a bomb. Oh, baby. So 2 out. Mr. Mao feeling his oats this morning. This series to determine who loses to the Phils. You got to get past the Dodgers first. Here's Thurman Munson. His big single to left field drove in both the key runs for the Yankees last night. And so unlike the Dodgers with Yeager and Ferguson, the Yankees will go with Munson day game after a night game. He went 2 for 4 with 2 RBI. And a reminder, we're not responsible for data usage on your phone. So the pitch to Munson is a ground ball to Herrera. He goes over to first, and that will retire to side. So Jenkins, in his first ever playoff appearance, gets a good 11-pitch inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the first. It's the Yankees, nothing. Here come the Rangers. And here's how the Rangers will line up. If you watched last night, it's the same lineup except for Jenkins. Mike Hargrove leads off at first base. And since it's raining, he is a human sun delay today. Bump Wills will bat second and play second. You like the graphic that Gardner put up for me? I had it last night, but it was too late for me to put it in. Fills up that screen and gets the ad space in. Al Oliver will play left and bat third. They need a good game from Al if Texas is going to bring this back to New York Tide. Bobby Bonds and Wright will clean up. Richie Zisk, the DH, will bat fifth. Jim Sundberg behind the plate will go sixth. Toby Herrera at third will bat seventh. Juan Benitez will play center field and bat eighth. Bert Campaneris will match wits and bat ninth at short. Need celebrities. Maybe I'll have Gardner do it for the World Series. And it's a big one on the mound. Ferguson Jenkins obviously won't bat. It's an American League game. But he had a very nice first inning for the Rangers. before they put those billboards up behind the stands in the outfield, the wind used to blow so hard it made it really hard to hit him out. No, I believe the Howdy board. Ooh, that would be a good idea. I'll have to talk to Al. The Howdy board was in left, and I think the rest of it was pretty much open. By the way, 76 degrees, wind blowing in at 13 from center, and there is a light rain for Figueroa. And we're not kidding. This is the start of his life. He had an ERA of 3.73, so almost 3/4 of a run worse than he did in real life. He is a fastball pitcher and a flyball pitcher at 85. In 258 innings, he allowed 249 hits, 24 homers. He walked 87 and struck out 85. So, although the whip is 0.08 of a higher, it made all the difference in the world. Defensively for New York, Roy White is a 7-1 in left. Mickey Rivers an 8-5 in center. Lou Piniella a 5-2 in right. Craig Dendles is a 10 at third. Bucky Dent a 6 at short. Brian Doyle, who had a magnificent game 1, a 5 at second. And Chris Chambliss a 10 at first. Munson is a 9 and an 8 behind the plate. And Figgy is an 8 on the mound with a 982 fielding percentage. Grover went 0 for 3 in game 1. He struck out twice and walked once as Guidry went the distance. And so game 2 will start with a fly ball to shallow right. Piniella 1 out. Bump Wills, who can bunt, went 1 for 4. He reached on an error, struck out, and stole a base. They're playing bunt, and Wills wants to force something. Bunt is down, foul, and the count goes to 0-2. Right now, the projections are looking highly in Figueroa's favor. The 0-2, ball 4. So he loses Wills on an 0-2 count. He threw 4 outside in a row. That brings up Oliver. Al went 1 for 4 in game 1 with an RBI and a strikeout. So the Rangers had the game's first base runner. Wills stole 51 on the replay and had a stolen base last night in game 1. Throw to first, bump is back, and now, he's got the green light. Hit and run is on. There's a ground ball base hit up the middle. Brian Doyle got a late jump. The infield is a bit wet with the rain, and Wills goes to third. So the Rangers have runners on the corners for Bobby Bonds. And you wonder why the Rangers won 94 games? You manufacture runs. The Rangers are built Ford tough. Or Chevy, depending on what your preference is. Bobby Bonds went 1 for 4 in game 1. He doubled and struck out. Got a chance here for an RBI. Figueroa from the stretch. Base hit right field. Piniella will pick it up. Wills will score. Oliver will hold, and the Rangers go up 1-0 here in game 2. So how about that? The Rangers draw first blood in game 2, and that'll bring up Richie Zisk. He struck out 3 times in game 1 and has climbed to the top of Ron Guidry's Christmas card list. So Oliver on second, Bonds at first. Remember, only 1 game today, and this is it. Dodgers and Phillies from Los Angeles in prime time tomorrow. Here's a ground ball base hit to center field. Oliver will hold at third. They have loaded the bases for Jim Sundberg. And Ed Figueroa is pitching like replay Eddie Figueroa. Sundberg went 1 for 4 in game 1. He doubled and struck out. So Oliver on third. Bonds will score on a hit. He's a 9 speed at second. And Zisk, who looks like he just came off a ship for 3 months, is on first. 1-0 Rangers, bottom of the first. Pitch to Sundberg. Base hit right field. Oliver scores. Bonds will score. Sundberg's in with a double, and the Rangers lead at 3-0. And so the X factor for the Yankees is not Simon Cowell. Here's Toby Herrera. In game 1, he went 0 for 3. He walked and struck out. And so Jenkins, who threw a magnificent first for Texas, can now go out to the mound in the second with a big lead. Zisk on third, Sundberg on second. And now Bob Lemon's going to see who's he going to use. Is he going to use Tidrow? Yeah, I think you're looking at it. They put 2 more on the board. I think you're done. Pitch to Herrera. Into right. That should score Zisk. Piniella will make the catch. Ritchie will tag and score. 2 out, 4-0 Rangers. Rumor has it that Garvey was spotted at a dingy hotel with an aging starlet. It's okay. He and Diane Cannon are just friends. Here's Juan Beniquez. In game 1, he went 1 for 4. So Figueroa looks rattled out there. And now the Yankees need to rain harder. You can't get the game postponed, but you could get Jenkins out earlier. Pitch to Beniquez. Gets away from Munson, and Sundberg goes to third on the wild pitch. So the count is full, and this is the worst possible scenario for the Yankees. They're getting nothing out of Figueroa. Pitch to Beniquez. 5-0 Texas. Beniquez is in with a double. And he won't make it out of the first. Dick Tidrow coming in to pitch. We got a pitching change in the first inning. This game is coming to you from Arlington Stadium in Texas. Tidrow went 10-11 with an ERA of 4.19. He can go out of the pen. This is not unusual. And now the Yankees will have to scramble for a Game 4 starter if they don't go with Guidry. He is a fastball pitcher, a flyball pitcher at 85. On the year, 176 innings, 185 hits. He allowed 18 homers. He walked 47 and struck out 84. And as they say in the chat, Tidrow's mustache alone will be better than Figgy. But you had to go with him in Game 2. I mean, in real life, he's a 20-game winner. The good news, if you're a Yankee fan, is you've got 8 innings to get this back. Campaneris, by the way, had a huge double last night to make it 3-2 off of Guidry, which is the metaphysical equivalent of having a relationship with Taylor Swift and not getting a song written about you. Yeah, you know, he should have pitched better on paper. You got to go with him. Because it's Guidry and Figueroa for the Yankees that got him to the World Series. Oops. Pitch to Campaneris. There's a ground ball to Dent. over to Chambliss, and that finally should and will retire the side. But the Rangers chase Ed Figueroa 5 runs on 5 hits and no errors. The Yankees are playing from behind the rest of the way, 5-0 Texas. So Reggie Jackson went 1 for 4 and a strikeout in Game 1. And there is a stunned silence from the Yankee fan section here in Arlington. Jackson, ball 4. So Reggie looked at a 3-1. That was way out of the zone, and that'll bring up Nettles. Puff went 0 for 4 with a strikeout in Game 1. Jenkins. Got him! And 0-2, a late called strike 3, and Nettles watched it. 1 out. Here's Chambliss. Chris went 0 for 4 in Game 1. Jenkins from the stretch. Into right, Bonds in the corner, 2 out. Reggie will retreat back to first, and that'll bring up Lou Piniella. Sweet Lou, 0 for 4 in Game 1. Jenkins delivers. A throw down to second, and Reggie steals the bag. So, I'm not sure if Reggie got the green light from the dugout. We're looking at Bob Lemon, and Bob's not revealing anything on the poker face, or if Reggie went on his own. Anyway, that's his first of the playoffs, and an 0-1 count to Piniella. To short, Campaneris will match wits with Hargrove, and the Yankees are retired. No runs, no hits, no errors. Inning and a half, the Yankees strand a runner, 5-0 Rangers. And so Dick Tidrow and his mustache will face the top of the Ranger lineup. Hargrove's 0 for 1. Ball 4. It's interesting because in Game 2 of our other series, the Phillies exploited the Dodgers' weaknesses but that was after Bob Welch got hurt. We will let you know tomorrow, Lorenzo. There is a strong possibility that Bob Welch could be the Game 4 starter. Lorenzo is disappointed that his Chuck Taylors stink. Or the Yankees ones do anyway. Bump Wells walked and scored. Hargrove on first. And there's a ground ball to Dent. He goes only to first. Wills is out. Bang, bang play. Good play by Dent. Hargrove goes to second. Here's Oliver. He singled and scored in the first. As we said in the outset, Figueroa was the question mark for the Yankees, but not in a million years would you figure he couldn't get out of the first. Pitch to Oliver, ball 4. Now the Yankees got to be careful. You can't be going through too many pitchers. Yeah, it depends on how many pitches Welch is allowed. When I checked last night, it didn't show that he was short-handed. We won't know until Game 3. And if he's not short-handed, he would go in Game 4, and that's the best news you can get for the Dodgers, because obviously you'd go Hoot in Game 5 if you needed it. Jenkins seemed to be tailor-made for this ballpark, Eric. And the Red Sox, as much as I love them, God bless them, Haywood, Sullivan, and Buddy LaRue. That's all I got to say. Bonds has an RBI single So runners on first and second. The Rangers knocking on the door again. Pitch from Tidrow. Struck him out. He got him to swing and miss a 2-2. If the Yankees and Dodgers both lose, I might do a Frankie Five Angels limitation in a warm bath. This series is a push. The Rangers won 94, and so did the Yankees. They had the same record. If the Dodgers don't need to use Doug Rauch in Game 4 as a starter, I like the Dodgers' chances better now. Well, there are 4 teams, I think, that can make that World Series. The Red Sox, the Yankees, the Cardinals, and the Dodgers. Cleveland, I think, was the other team that contended in the American League, too. Richie Zisk singled and scored his first time up. And this time he sends out one to Chambliss. He only has a play at first to Tidrow, and that is an out. And will retire the side. The walks don't hurt. The Rangers strand 2. After 2, 5-0 Texas. So here's Bucky Dent. Bucky went 0 for 3 and reached on an error in Game 1 and scored. Pitch to Dent. Ground ball, base hit, left side. So Bucky gets the first hit. And that'll bring up Brian Doyle, who had 2 big had a good game, 2 hits. Yeah, he had 2 hits last night, not 2 RBI. So first hit, Jenkins will work out of the stretch here in the top of the third. 5-0 Rangers Game 2. Yankees lead the series 1-0. Pitch to Doyle. Right back to Jenkins. Wills for 1. There is no throw to first. But they get the lead runner, and there's 1 out for Rivers, who's 0 for 1. So Jenkins, 9 batters deep, 36 pitches. 2 1/3 innings, 1 hit, a walk, and a strikeout. Mr. Wrestling, Brad, how are you? Or Brent. Brent and I are going to do something together. He needs to tell me what it is he wants me to do, but we're going to do something together. And I'm curious to see what we figure out. Pitch to Rivers. There's a base hit in front of Bonds in right center. Doyle will hold at second. Wills got a late jump. Couldn't get back there. The rain, by the way, has stopped. 77 degrees and the wind blowing in. Absolutely. Here's Roy White. He's 0 for 1. So the Yankees got something going here in the third. Runners go. The throw down to Herrera. They throw out Doyle trying to steal third. I don't know if that was a hit and run that didn't work. Rivers obviously could steal second, but what in the world are the Yankees doing there? That had to have been a hit and run. A look-see in the dugout, and Lemon is just scratching his head. I don't know what that was. That's a busted play. So here's an 0-1 count to White. Into center. Beniquez has it. Side retired. The Yankees. My goodness gracious. No runs, 2 hits. They strand a runner. 2.5 down. 5-0 Rangers. That has to be, Jamie, one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. I mean, obviously Rivers you could understand because he's got speed. Now, the computer doesn't realize this is a playoff series. Wow. Jim Sundberg had a 2-run double. Thank you. And the Ranger fans in the audience get loud. Pitch to Sundberg. Into right center. Piniella makes the catch against the track. So the wind's still blowing in at 13 from center. Here's Toby Herrera. He has an RBI. Sac fly his first time up. And there's a long drive to left at 6-0. Toby Herrera, in his first ever playoff series, will touch them all on at 6-0. That's his 14th. Here it is again. It's first of the playoffs, and that ball was driven. White just turned and watched it go. And you're right, Jamie. Everything is always magnified in the postseason. So here's Benitez. He doubled home a run. Now. We don't do that. We stay classy. Ball 4. So Tidrow's pretty much got to pitch to his pitch count now. Here's Campaneris. He's 0 for 1. And there's a ground ball base hit. When Bert Campaneris is hitting, so game 4 of this series, if the lead should hold, and we suspect it will, would be Friday afternoon at noon. So Hargrove is 0 for 1. Tidrow, they wanted him to go 4. He's going to be lucky if he gets into a third inning. Pitch to Hargrove. There's a ground ball to Dent. Doyle for 1, over to first, and that should be 2. And so one more run for the Rangers on 2 hits and no errors. We go to the 4th, 6-0 Texas. I'd imagine outside of Lorenzo, I think everyone else, at least in the chat, is a Ranger fan here. Ranger fans might be the nicest in baseball. One year when they beat the Rays at the Trop in the playoffs, some Ranger fans were almost apologetic for winning and celebrating. I think the Ranger and Blue Jay fans, outside of Jose Bautista, nope. We are all gentlemen here, and will act accordingly. Thurman Munson is 0 for 1. So I'm seeing 10 people watching. And I check to see who's here. I'm going to say, just off the top of my head, that the split is 7 Ranger, 2 Yankee, because I know who's here, and 1 announcer. Yeah, I'm kind of sympathetic for Thurman, who's 0 for 1. Into center, Benitez, 1 out. Remember, the Rangers didn't use Reggie Cleveland yesterday, so if they need him to get 6 outs to get the series to New York even, they will. Here's Reggie. He walked and stole a base. This time around, he sends it into deep right field. Back goes Barnes. Goodbye. Reggie Jackson has put the Yankees on the board at 6-1. So Jackson put that one down the line and right, and Barnes just gave chase. He ran out of real estate. I think Jamie and Eric have it right. I don't know if anybody here, outside of Robbie Wartberg, who doesn't usually come to my streams now, and is a Ranger fan per se. So if you're watching this on YouTube and if you're a Ranger fan, let us know. But outside of that, I think most of it's anti-Yankee. Lorenzo has put the Yankee hat away and now has his Dodger hat on. Here's Nettles. He struck out his first time up. And that's into left center. Benitez, 2 out. Chris Chambliss is 0 for 1. Lorenzo and Ricky can sit together. Ricky, of course, is a Yankee fan. Reggie saying, I got to do it all. I stole a base. I hit a homer. You know, between Reggie and Steinbrenner, that'd be one heck of a lineup, wouldn't it? You remember the episode of SNL which Steinbrenner hosted? George was a great sport. And they did the skit where Steinbrenner plays for the Yankees and does all 9 positions. And actually, all 10. He was DH, too. Chambliss is 0 for 1. Struck him out. So he got a 1-2 on the inside corner, looking a run, a hit, no errors. We go to the bottom of the fourth. The Yankees are on the board, but it's 6-1 Texas. So Bump Wills has walked and scored. He's 0 for 1. Pitch from Tidrow. Here's a ground ball to Chambliss. Over to first. Himself, 1 out. It's the 160 IQ. Okay. George certainly could be. Yeah, he was. He got a bad rep, including from me as a kid. I still want to know, though, what would have happened if they had allowed his consortium, there's a word you don't hear in a Fortnite stream, to have bought the Indians, because Steinbrenner is from Cleveland. Al Oliver has walked and singled and scored. Tidrow trying to finish his third inning, as Eddie Figueroa couldn't get out of the first. There's a line drive down the line and left. It's going to get in the corner. Oliver is on with a stand-up double. I think Steinbrenner would have spent the money for sure. You imagine Reggie in one of those Oompa Loompa uniforms from the mid-'70s? Oompa Loompa Doopa-dee-doo. I've got another pennant for you. Bobby Bonds is 1 for 2. He has singled, struck out, scored, and driven in a run. Well, he would have looked better on Reggie than it did Boog Powell, wouldn't it? Pitch to Bonds. Ground ball to first. Chambliss to the bag himself. Oliver to third. 2 out. For Richie Zisk, who was 1 for 2 with a run scored. So, a reminder, tomorrow night, Game 3 of the National League Championship Series, tied at 1. Don Sutton for the Dodgers and Steve Carlton for the Phillies. And Tim McCarver will play in that game. And Tim will tell you all about it in excruciating detail. Wind is calming down now, blowing in at 9 from center. Pitch to Zisk is a liner to first. Chambliss leaps and robs them of a run. How about that? No runs. The Rangers leave on a runner, no errors. After 4, 6-1 Texas. So Piniella, Dent, and Doyle to face Jenkins here in the 5th. Fergie in the left. Oliver and somebody from Fort Worth made that catch. And the count is full, 3-2. Ground ball up the middle. Campaneris, diving stop, throws to first, 1 out. Bucky Dent singled his first time up. If I was to venture a guess, as of right now, 12:38 Eastern Time on this 29th of September, I would say that the Dodgers and the Rangers have the better chance right now. Just saying. I don't know. You're going to need Catfish Hunter to pitch the game of his life tomorrow. Pitch to Dent. Struck him out. He got him on a 1-2 on the outside corner. So 2 out for Doyle, who is 0 for 1. Jenkins. Ground ball to Campaneris. Over to first. You guys are getting the commercial. And that's it. Sparky Lyle's coming in. It's what the Yankees have got to do. And so we're got a pitching change. You get a commercial. And you get me to watch me flip some slides if you don't get the commercial. Halfway home. 6-1 Rangers. Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future, proudly presents the 1978 American League Championship Series. From Arlington Stadium in Arlington, Texas, it's Game 2 between the New York Yankees and the Texas Rangers. The Yankees lead the series 1-0, but the Rangers lead Game 2 6-1. And today's game is brought to you by Digital Dice, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. And if you joined us late, here's how we got here. Texas, 2 big innings. They sent 9 to the plate. And Baseball Demos is right. Unless you put up that 10th man, you don't bat around. Bobby Bonds with a single to score Bump Wills to make it 1-0. Jim Sundberg, a 2-run double to make it 3-0. Then Toby Herrera, a sac fly to make it 4-0. Juan Beniquez doubled home Sundberg to make it 5-0. And then in the third, Toby Herrera, the first homer for anybody in the series, a solo shot to make it 6-0. And then Reggie Jackson, who thinks he can do everything, hits his first of the postseason. He is Mr. October for a reason. 6-1 Texas. But here's the story, and it's not of a lovely lady. Eddie Figueroa, he said he was a wild card in the series. He pitches well, the Yankees win. If he does not, the Yankees are in trouble. Well, by God, in the immortal words of Al Red Sox fan, he pooped the bed. 2/3 of an inning, 5 hits, 5 runs, all earned, and a walk. Dick Tidrow goes 3 1/3 of mop-up duty and only allows a run. Ferguson Jenkins doing his job, 3 hits through 5, including the home run to Jackson. Sparky Lyle went 10-3 on the replay with 2 saves and an ERA of 3.46. He is a Bugs Bunny fastball pitcher at 83 and a ground ball pitcher. And Bob Lemon expects him to use all 50 of his pitches. If they could use Gossage today, it won't matter because tomorrow is an off day. And 93 2/3 innings in the replay, Lyle allowed 104 hits, 7 homers. He walked 22 and struck out 31. Jim Sundberg had a 2-run double in the first. And greets Lyle with a comebacker up the middle, throw to first, 1 out. So here's Toby Herrera. We said at least a couple times in the last couple nights that Toby is I believe, someone will correct me if I'm wrong here, the lone Washington Senators player to make the playoffs now. He's the last one with Texas, isn't he? And so, no. You expect Dave to pay me money for that? No. Yeah, I know. Just kidding. So for Herrera, it's an extra thrill because he's been there when the gravy was flour thin. Rodriguez, Aurelio, and Jeff Burroughs. Yeah, Burroughs was in Atlanta in '78, and Rodriguez, if that's the same one, am I thinking Aurelio? Would have been with the Tigers. Pitch to Herrera, ball 4. Okay, so thank you, Jamie. Here's Beniquez. He's doubled, walked, drove in a run, and scored. No, he didn't score. He doubled and drove in a run. So Herrera with good speed. Lyle throws to first. Toby back. 5-run lead. I don't think you need to manufacture much now. Pitch to Beniquez. It hit him! And Sparky is beside himself. Bob Lemon draws the hat over the face. And I believe on that clipboard is an application to Monster.com. the best BBS for job applications. Wondering if anybody in Major League Baseball will be hiring after the season. Here's Campaneris. He is 1 for 2 with a single. He squares. The bunt is down. Munson's only play is to first. The sacrifice works. Herrera on third. Beniquez on second. And it goes 2-4 on the card. 2 out for Hargrove. With a single can break this one open. Lyle, the third Yankee pitcher, as we play the bottom of the fifth. Hargrove to Dent on the grass, over to Chambliss. What a throw by Bucky to get him. A nice play. So a little, swing, and Bucky does his job. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the sixth. 6-1 Texas. So Jenkins threw 18 batters, 69 pitches, 5 hits. 3 hits, the home run to Reggie. He has walked 1 and struck out 3. Rivers is 1 for 2. Lemon asks if he can use George Steinbrenner as a reference. Rivers, base hit right field. Bonds will pick it up, and that's a leadoff hit. Here's White, he's 0 for 2. And Roy into center field. Beniquez. The wind killed that one. It's still blowing in from 9. 1 out for Munson, who's 0 for 2. So someone asked earlier how the crowd's favoring here. And it's heavily Rangers. Munson's 0 for 2. There's a ground ball to Campaneris. Wills for 1. Hargrove for 2. And so Jenkins shakes his fist. No runs, a hit. The double play killed the rally after 5.5. 6-1 Texas. So Bump Wills is 0 for 2. He has walked and scored a run. And Bump sends that one to Doyle at second, over to first, 1 out. So after the off day tomorrow, there are no more off days in the League Championship Series. We'll go until they're done now. And the change of scenery sends us to Los Angeles and New York, which, if some people want, is going to be where the World Series is going to be. That's where it was in real life. Al Oliver, 2 for 2. He is singled, doubled, scored, and walked. National League, by the way, will get home field in the World Series. So we know it's Los Angeles or Philadelphia. But it's an even number year, so there is a DH. And the Dodgers have a pretty good one. It would be Lee Lacy. Pitch to Oliver. Base hit, left center field. So that's the first hit allowed by Lyle. Here's Bobby Bonds. He's 1 for 3. He has singled, struck out, scored, and driven in a run. Throw to first. Oliver's not the one that's going to steal. Into left. That's going to drop in front of White. Oliver will hold at second. And his runner's on first and second. 1 out for Zisk, who's 1 for 3 with a run scored. Gets away from Munson, and nobody moves, however. So Munson lost it, but since nobody moved, it's not a pass ball. Count as a ball and 2 strikes to Zisk. To first, Chambliss. He goes to Lyle for the sure out. And there's 2 away, and runners on second and third for Sundberg, who already has 2 RBI. Had that big double in the first. It'll be Jackson, Nettles, and Chambliss for the Yankees in the 7th. And there's a fly ball to left. White has it, and that will retire the side. The Rangers have left 9 on, but they lead 6-1. So Reggie agrees with Mr. Wrestling. 2. and says there is a Yankee rally upcoming. Solo shot for Reggie. Only run for New York. Into right. Bonds. 1 out. So here's Nettles. Craig is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. The pitch into center. Beniquez. 2 out. Ferguson is making this look awful easy. Here's Chambliss. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. And there's a ground ball to Wells. Over to Hargrove. Time for the stretch. 6-1 Texas. We're getting reports that Bowie Kuhn has voided a trade for the entire Yankee roster in exchange for the Indians. Come on. You don't want to see Wayne Gage in the playoffs? I think Andy Thornton would look pretty good in pinstripes, don't you? Toby Herrera, by the way, has walked, singled, sacrificed fly, and a solo shot. Lyle. Here's a ground ball to Nettles. Over to Chambliss. 1 out. Thank you. Beniquez has doubled, walked, and driven in a run. 6 runs, 10 hits, no errors. And the Rangers have left 9 on. Normally that's a killer. But when you're pitching like Jenkins, it doesn't matter. The Yankees have a run on 4 hits and they've only left 2 on. Here's Beniquez. I think I told you those numbers already. And he's going to get a base hit in the left center field. So Bookie, looking to get that flight, forgot you still got to play the game, Buster Brown. Brings up Campaneris, who's 1 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt and a single. Sparky 2 1/3 innings, 36 pitches, 3 hits and a walk. But no runs. Campy draws a walk. That is the metaphysical equivalent of walking the pitcher. So here's Hargrove, who is 0 for 3. With a walk and grounded into a double play. Munson and Lyle go out and have a few words. Sparky's pitch. Line drive to Doyle. Throws to first, and they get Campaneris napping. So what the baseball gods giveth, they taketh away. No runs, a hit, no errors. We go to the 8th. It's still 6-1 Texas. So it'll be Piniella, Dent, and Doyle to face Jenkins, who's not even showing the fatigue warning. Could the Rangers really get 2 complete games in a row? I mean, that's where the Yankees have an advantage. Is the Ranger bullpen outside of Reds and Cleveland is not, shall we say, lights out. Piniella's 0 for 2. Ground ball to third. Herrera across the way, 1 out. Here's Dent. Bucky is 1 for 2. He is singled and struck out. Jenkins to first. Hargrove takes it himself, 2 away. So, a beautiful afternoon here in Arlington, 79 degrees. All 6 flags are pointing in towards center field. Brian Doyle is 0 for 2. I wonder if they'll pinch hit. They do. Jim Spencer will pinch hit. Jim Spencer, 233 in the replay, 9 homers and 25 RBI. The Yankees and I will become best of friends next in this series, as the computer will take over the Rangers when the series heads to New York. Pitch to Spencer. Into center field, Beniquez has it to retire the side. The Yankees go down with a whimper. No runs, no hits, no errors. 7.5 in the books. 6-1 Texas. So Bump Wills. He's 0 for 3 with a walk. Oliver and Bonds. The interesting thing is that both teams really have their best available lineups. They didn't miss Willie Randolph, did the Yankees last night. Stanley, by the way, is a 3 at second, and Fred will play the rest of the game there. But boy, did they miss him today. Not defensively. Doyle has done okay. Wills 0 for 3 with a walk. And here's a little looper in the left center field. And Wills is on with a single. Brings up Al Oliver, who is 3 for 3. He has singled twice, doubled, scored, and walked. Dodgers will host the Phillies tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, for Game 3 of the National League Championship Series. And that is knotted at 1 game apiece. Pitch to Oliver. Ball 4. So Sparky wants to know where that one misses. And the Yankees have pretty much waved Dido's white flag because Jim Beatty's coming in to pitch. Jim, don't call me Warren, went 5-12 in the replay with a 4.88 ERA. Beatty only appeared in relief once. I thought he was more of a swing man for the Yankees in 78. I am wrong. He is a fastball pitcher at 90 and a standard pitcher. No fly ball, no ground ball. Beatty went 118 innings, allowed 131 hits, 11 homers. He has walked 47 and struck out 62. And with runners on first and second, nobody out, here comes Bobby Bonds, who is 2 for 4. Bobby has singled twice, struck out, scored, and drove in a run. Into left. Back goes White to the track. He'll make the catch. Wills is going to go to third. And White will throw, and not in time. Well, it didn't throw. Didn't throw. You didn't see that. So White just kind of chucked it in. So 1 out, and with Wills' speed, runners on the corners for Zisk, who's 1 for 4. There's 18 gazillion baseball playoff games today. You know how much of the regular season I watched? 2 games. All right, so Mr. Brent says, I have a theory that everyone's favorite team is based on the title game's participants when you're 8. Definitely not true. For me, that's this replay. Loved the Yankees and hated the Dodgers. I hated the Yankees, so I liked the Dodgers. But 1975 made me a Red Sox fan, and I turned 3. I turned 4 that year. So Wills on third, Oliver on first. Pitch to Zisk. Gets away from Munson, and everybody moves up 90. So Beatty uncorks one. Looking more like Ned on the mound than Jim. And it's a wild pitch, 7-1. So Oliver on second. Lorenzo, who was in the World Series when you were 8? Here's Zisk. He's 1 for 4. The run scored. I think actually it's going to be the Dodgers. Isn't it like the Dodgers and the White Sox, if I remember correctly? Pitch to Zisk. Struck him out. Beatty got him, and he tipped it right in the glove of Thurman Munson on a full count. So Jim Sundberg 1 for 4 with a double. 2 RBI and a run scored. Mr. Mao, I think that would be about right for you with the Phillies, right? Technically, I was 8 when that World Series was played. But I rooted for the Royals. Pitch to Sundberg. Here's a long drive to center. Rivers. And that will retire the side. Yeah, 61 years ago. Wouldn't you have been 8? 1 run, 1 hit, and no errors. Fergalicious trying for the complete game. And for 27 batters, yeah, 1959. But I bet there's some truth to that. So 27 batters deep for Jenkins, 105 pitches, 8 innings, 4 hits. The solo shot to Reggie, he has walked 1 and struck out 3. And so if the Rangers don't come back to Texas, they will at least left their fans with a happy memory as they take a 6-run lead into the top of the 9th. Rivers is 2 for 3. And no. Pitch to Rivers is into center field, but he has 1 out. You want to use Gary Thomason for someone else, fine, but why would you pinch hit for a hitter that's 2 for 3? Roy White is 0 for 3. They'll leave him in, and there's a line drive to first, and there's 2 out. So 43,000 stand is 1. Thurman Munson is 0 for 3 and grounded into a double play. And the Rangers are about to tie this series at 1 game apiece. Jenkins delivers. Nope, not yet. Base hit right field, and Munson spoils the party to at least start. And that brings up Reggie, who is 1 for 2. That solo shot in the 4th, the lone Yankee run. So everybody's up again. Jenkins delivers. Ball 4. So 2 out for Nettles now. Reggie Cleveland getting loose for the Rangers. But they'd rather have Jenkins get the complete game. Nettles is 0 for 3. He has struck out once. And Jackson at least stirs the Alka-Seltzer here. Sundberg goes down to settle down Jenkins. And Ferguson's pitch is a ground ball base hit. Munson will hold, and the bases are loaded. And we won't mess around. Reggie Cleveland is in to finish this one out. So Jenkins gets a big hand as he comes out. Cleveland 6 and 4 with 21 saves and an ERA of 1.45. He is a ground ball extreme pitcher, and that fastball tops out at 89. He went 74 in the 3rd innings, allowed 58 hits, 3 homers. He's walked 12 and struck out 44. Chambliss is 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Base is loaded for the Yankees, but it's 7-1 Texas. Cleveland's pitch into right. That is gone! And Chris Chambliss has hit a grand slam. And it's 7-5. They had opened up the Lone Star a couple batters early, and all this with 2 outs. He sent that one down the line and right. It's the 2nd grand slam of the playoffs. So here's Piniella. He's 0 for 3. So Cleveland has coughed up the hairball here. It's still a 2-run lead. Yep. Yeah, game 1 was all Los Angeles. The score made it look closer than it was. Pitch from Cleveland. Right back to Reggie. And now we go to New York. 6-2 and even. The Rangers hang on. And they win it 7-5. So Ferguson Jenkins, unfortunately, wrong banner. You lost. Will get the win, but he gets 3 of those 4 runs charged to him. Yep, Reggie Jackson has had himself a playoff, but that'll do it for the 2 games here. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Yankees. 7 runs, 12 hits, and no errors for the Rangers. Al Oliver, 3 for 3 with 2 doubles. He's your MVP. Jenkins, 8 2/3 innings. He was tired. He had minus stuff, too. Wow. 6 hits, the 4 runs, thanks mostly to Reggie Cleveland. The homer to Jackson, and 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. Chris Chambliss with the grand slam to make it 7-5. So we are tied at 1 game apiece. And if Catfish Hunter can look halfway human, the Yankees, I think, got a real shot. But if Catfish Hunter has happened to him what Eddie Figueroa had happened to him in this game, no, the Rangers will go to the World Series. But we're all even, so it's a best of 3 in New York, and it's a best of 3 in Philadelphia, or in Los Angeles. How about that? So there you go. We did 2 games apiece, and we've resolved nothing. It's a lot like most marriages. All right, I'm Ron Juckett. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow night at 8 Eastern for Game 3 of the Dodgers and the Phillies from Los Angeles. Steve Carlton for Philadelphia. And Don Sutton for the Dodgers. Until then, we'll talk to you the next time.